Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 4. I observe that the basic motive for success is the driving force of envy and jealousy. Good morning. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Word Tribe. We've been doing a book review, and today is day 3. We'll be reviewing chapter 3 of the book, The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. And it's been an exciting ride. The first chapter, we talked about how everything starts and begins with God. And then the second chapter, we talked about the fact that you're not an accident. So gradually, we are beginning this journey on discovering our purpose, on why we are here and why God brought us to earth. I'm sure some of you may be angry, maybe upset. In your mind, you're like, why did God bring me to this place? Like, maybe wherever your location is, it's not really going out well for you in your country or in your city, and you're like, why did God even think of bringing me to this place? But trust me, we've established in day 2 that God doesn't just make decisions randomly. God knew why He brought you to that particular city, that particular family, that particular country. Okay, so the best thing for you to do is to realize this, understand it, and fully accept and embrace it. Okay, and God will not leave you to chance. God will not just leave you and allow the bad things to happen to you. He's also going to be there for you, so there's nothing for you to worry about. So today we'll be reviewing chapter 3, and chapter 3 says, the chapter is titled, What Drives Your Life? That's a very serious question. What drives your life? What pushes you? What is that driving force that keeps your life going? What is that? There are many words to put this or to explain this, but what really is your motivation for life? And there's a famous quote here by Thomas Carlyle. He says, the man without a purpose is like a sheep without a rudder, a waif, a nothing, a no man. So we can see that going through life without purpose is useless, it's aimless, right? It's just a road to no end with no future. So the first pointer in this chapter, Rick Warren says, nothing matters more than knowing God's purposes for your life, and nothing can compensate for not knowing them. So he mentioned some things that people get driven by. People get driven by materialism. That's the things they acquire, their possessions, money, cars, properties. Those things are driving force for some people, right? Some people are driven by fear. People are scared, what ifs. They're worried about what could their life be like if they don't work hard, if they don't put in the effort, and this is the driving force for their life. Some people are driven by resentment and anger. Some people weirdly are pushed or motivated by the resentment or the anger they have or they experience, which is also not a very good driving force. It's not a very good force to be driven by in life, because you're holding on to hurt and you don't want to release those hurts and get over them. Some people are driven by guilt. Some people have made so many mistakes in life and they're wallowing in regret and shame, and so that guilt more like serves as their driving force to doing what they're doing in life. Okay, and then lastly, he mentioned 5 ways people are driven, which are not the right ways. Many people are driven by the need for approval. So you see, many people want to be known. Many people they're seeking attention. They're seeking validation. They want to feel important. They want to feel heard. They want to feel seen. And these things can propel you. It's not really the right energy, that should push you for life, because you end up people pleasing. You end up doing a lot of things just because you want to be approved by other people. So all these things cannot compensate for knowing what really God's purpose is for you. If you're driven by all these things I mentioned, you are not really working in purpose, because you're only doing it based on feelings, based on material things that are ephemeral, things that are temporal. But truly, what matters is knowing what God's plan is for you, knowing what God's purpose is for your life, and no other thing that's driving you can actually compensate for that. If you're in this earth and you're hustling, you're in quotes, you're grinding, you're working hard, getting in the money, living a comfortable life, you have cars, you have expensive gadgets, you're basically comfortable. But really, is that what God's plan is for you? I don't think so. There's always something much more than all the things we acquire, everything we achieve in life. So that's basically what this chapter was trying to establish. And then another pointer, he says, if you want your life to have impact, focus it. So he talked about the fact that knowing your purpose can help you focus in life. The truth is that, like I said in my previous episode, that the devil has drafted a strategy in this world in a way of bringing distractions. So we're distracted by social media, we're distracted by everything that's going on in the world, LGBTQ, different things, economies, wars, different things are going on, right? And those things can pose as a distraction. But when you figure out why God made you and the reason why God put you here, it helps to focus, it helps to narrow down, and helps you to focus on your life. So you're focusing on achieving that goal, achieving that purpose for your life. So if you want your life, if you're looking to live an impactful life, best believe you need to narrow down and focus on God's purpose for your life. Okay? Another pointer here in this chapter, he says, you weren't put on earth to be remembered, you were put here to prepare for eternity. So again, it goes back to one of the driving forces that people use for their life, which is the need for approval. So we are not on earth permanently. That's one idea, one mindset we should have. We're not going to be here forever. Here is just our temporary stay until the master comes and we go to stay with him and be with him in heaven. So this is not our permanent home, right? This is not our home. So you shouldn't focus or struggle so much in trying to be remembered by people. It's not really important. What is really important is, did you do the master's will? Did you accomplish the purpose that God had for you here? Or did you carry out the assignment that was given to you, right? So you're actually here to prepare for something bigger after the earth. It does not end here, right? It doesn't end here in the earth. There's something much bigger, which is eternity, right? And that's what we're supposed to be preparing for. There's a much bigger purpose for our life than just being remembered or our status or all of that, okay? And so the final part of this chapter, the points that we're pondering on in this chapter is, living on purpose is the path to peace. If you're outside of God's will for your life, you would definitely going to experience uneasiness, unrest, frustration, overwhelm. You'll be so overwhelmed. You feel like you're working in alignment. You feel like you're doing something. There's a sense of fulfillment people derive when they're like, maybe they're doing work or they're just doing something, maybe a major project, and makes you feel like, okay, yeah, maybe this is my thing. I get that, but don't mistake it for God's purpose for your life, right? Because at the end of the day, after doing all of that, you will now realize that you feel empty, you're not satisfied. It's like there's still something more that you're supposed to do, right? So living on purpose is the path to peace. If you want to experience peace, if you want to experience focus in your life, if you don't want to waste time, because every other thing is a distraction, if you don't want to waste time, then the advice here is that you should live on purpose, right? Live with purpose. And then the verse to remember is Isaiah chapter 26 verse 3. It says, "You, Lord, give perfect peace to those who keep their purpose firm, and put their trust in you. So here is saying that God gives perfect peace to those who are stayed on their purpose, who are intentional about their purpose. So I'm going to ask you another question today. What would your family and friends say is the driving force of your life? If they were to randomly ask your mom, your dad, your siblings, your friends, your loved ones, and they say, what's the driving force for this girl, or what's the driving force for this man, what would you think their response would be? Would it be on temporary things that don't matter? Would it be on material possessions? Would it be fear? Would it be guilt? Would it be the need for approval? Or would it be really about God's purpose for your life? What do you want to be? That's the question. What do you want to be? Alright guys, so take some time, sit with it, ruminate over it, take as much time as you need this morning before you step out or you head out for the day, and really ask yourself, what would my people, what will my friends think is my driving force? And I think it's very much easy to know or to tell from their interactions with you, from the decisions you make, from your behavior, everything about you. People can tell what actually, pushes, what drives your life. All right, guys, I think this is where we're going to draw the curtain for today. If you've been enjoying this series so far on the journey to purpose, please let me know in the comments. Let me know one or two things you have learned so far and what it is that this has changed your perspective about. Just fill me in the details, and I'll catch you again in the next episode. For now, please stay driven on the right path. Bye.